The Toyota RAV4 is one of those vehicles that seems to be everywhere in America. You see it in school parking lots, suburban driveways, grocery store lots, business districts, and even on long highway road trips. It is not flashy like a luxury SUV, not aggressive like a sports truck, and not oversized like a full-size family hauler. Yet somehow it became one of the best-selling vehicles in the entire United States. That raises an important question. Why? Why does the RAV4 dominate a market full of strong competition? Why do so many people trust this SUV year after year? And more importantly, if someone is shopping for a practical SUV in 2026, does the RAV4 still deserve all that attention? The answer starts with understanding what Toyota wanted this vehicle to be. Back in the 1990s, most SUVs were large truck-based heavy vehicles made mainly for off-road capability. They were useful, but not ideal for daily commuting. Toyota saw an opportunity to create something different. They wanted a smaller SUV that felt easier to drive like a sedan, but still offered cargo space, a higher seating position, and the confidence people wanted from an SUV. That idea created the first RAV4. The name stands for Recreational Active Vehicle with Four-Wheel Drive. It was a bold concept at the time because it mixed comfort, efficiency, and practicality instead of focusing only on rugged off-road ability. Today, that formula looks obvious, but back then, it was a major shift. And honestly, Toyota was ahead of its time. The early RAV4 models were smaller and simpler, but they built a reputation for reliability almost immediately. Owners discovered they could use the vehicle for daily work, family trips, and light adventure without worrying about constant repairs. That trust became the foundation of the RAV4 name. Fast forward to modern generations, and the RAV4 has transformed into a much more refined and advanced SUV. It now competes directly with major rivals like the Honda CR-V, Nissan Rogue, Mazda CX-5, and Hyundai Tucson. But unlike some competitors that focus heavily on style or performance, Toyota keeps pushing the same core philosophy: dependable transportation first. That sounds boring on paper, but for most buyers, it is exactly what they want. Let's start with the engine options because this is where the RAV4 makes one of its smartest moves. The standard gasoline model usually comes with a 2.5-liter four-cylinder engine. It produces enough power for daily life without trying to be a sports SUV. It is smooth, predictable, and easy to live with. For normal commuting, school runs, shopping, and highway travel, it does the job very well. Some people complain that it is not exciting. That is true. If someone wants thrilling acceleration, the RAV4 is probably not the first choice. But Toyota knows most buyers are not looking for excitement. They want consistency. And consistency is exactly what this engine delivers. Fuel economy is another reason why people love it. Depending on trim and drivetrain, many gas models deliver around the low to mid-30 mpg range on highways, which is strong for an SUV in this category. For families watching fuel costs, that matters a lot. Then there is the hybrid version, and this is where things get even more interesting. The hybrid RAV4 is one of the strongest reasons this SUV became so popular in America. Toyota has years of hybrid experience and it shows. The RAV4 hybrid offers better fuel efficiency, stronger low-speed torque, and surprisingly smooth driving. Many drivers report that it feels more responsive than the standard gasoline version. That is rare because hybrids are often seen as slower. In this case, many people actually prefer the hybrid. And if someone wants even more efficiency, there is the plug-in hybrid version, previously known as RAV4 Prime and now often marketed differently depending on model year and market updates. This version offers strong acceleration and electric-only driving for shorter trips, making it attractive for buyers who want SUV practicality with near-EV benefits. Of course, price increases with those versions, but for many buyers, the savings on fuel and the improved driving feel justify it. Now let's talk about comfort, because this is where the RAV4 wins quietly. It is not the most luxurious cabin in the segment. If someone wants premium softness and upscale materials, a Mazda CX-5 or even a Lexus might feel more special. But the RAV4 focuses on usability. The seats are supportive. Visibility is excellent. The driving position feels natural. Controls are easy to understand. Physical buttons still exist for important functions, which many drivers actually prefer over giant touchscreen-only systems. This matters more than people realize. Some vehicles look futuristic, but become frustrating after a week of ownership. The RAV4 usually avoids that problem. It feels practical instead of complicated. Rear seat space is also strong for a compact SUV. Adults can sit comfortably in the back without feeling cramped. And families with child seats appreciate the easy access. Cargo space is another major advantage. Grocery runs, sports equipment, luggage for vacations, and even light furniture transport are handled without much stress. That everyday usefulness is exactly why so many American families choose it. Technology has improved significantly in newer generations, especially from around 2019 onward, and even more in 2025 and 2026 trims. Modern RAV4 models offer digital displays, larger infotainment screens, smartphone integration like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, wireless charging, premium sound systems on upper trims, and advanced driver assistance features. Toyota Safety Sense is a major selling point. This package includes features like lane departure alert, adaptive cruise control, automatic emergency braking, pedestrian detection, road sign assist, and lane tracing support depending on the trim and year. These systems make highway driving less stressful and improve daily safety. For families, that peace of mind is a major reason to buy. And safety ratings help support that confidence. The RAV4 consistently performs well in crash testing. And Toyota has spent years building a reputation around long-term safety and reliability rather than flashy marketing. That reputation is powerful. Now, comparing the RAV4 with bigger Toyota SUVs creates an interesting discussion. Some buyers wonder if they should skip the RAV4 and move up to something like the Toyota Highlander or even the Toyota 4Runner. The answer depends on lifestyle. The Highlander offers more space and a third row, making it better for large families. The 4Runner is stronger for serious off-road driving and rugged use. But both are larger, heavier, and usually more expensive to own. The RAV4 sits in the sweet spot. It is easier to park, cheaper to fuel, cheaper to insure in many cases, and still large enough for most families. For the average American household, that balance is hard to beat. Compared to something like the Toyota Sequoia, the RAV4 feels far more realistic for normal life. And compared to the Toyota Corolla or Toyota Camry, it offers that higher driving position people love today without becoming too expensive or too large. That is exactly why it became America's favorite SUV. But no car is perfect, and the RAV4 definitely has weaknesses too. Some owners criticize road noise, especially at highway speeds. Depending on trim and tires, cabin insulation can feel average rather than premium. Wind noise and tire noise are not terrible, but they are noticeable compared to more refined competitors. Another complaint is ride quality. It is stable and predictable, but sometimes it feels firmer than expected. Drivers coming from softer sedans may notice that immediately. The infotainment system, while improved, also receives mixed reviews. It is functional, but Toyota sometimes lags behind competitors in software polish and screen responsiveness. It works, but it rarely feels cutting edge. And pricing has become a serious conversation. Years ago, the RAV4 was seen as a very affordable choice. Today, especially in higher trims and hybrid versions, prices can climb quickly. Some buyers are surprised when a well-equipped RAV4 starts approaching premium brand territory. That forces people to think carefully. Is the reliability worth paying extra for? For many buyers, the answer is yes. Because when people buy a RAV4, they are often not buying excitement. They are buying fewer headaches. And in real life, fewer headaches can be worth a lot more than extra horsepower. One of the biggest reasons people stay loyal to the Toyota RAV4 is long-term ownership cost. This is where the vehicle quietly separates itself from many competitors. Buying an SUV is one thing, but living with it for 5, 7, or even 10 years is a completely different story. The RAV4 usually performs very well in that second category. Maintenance is generally straightforward. Oil changes, brakes, tires, filters, and regular inspections are not unusually expensive compared to the segment. Toyota parts are widely available across the United States, and almost every independent mechanic is familiar with the platform. That makes ownership less stressful than with some brands that require expensive dealership visits for basic service. This matters more than people admit. A vehicle can look amazing on day one, but if it becomes expensive and frustrating after 60,000 miles, people remember that. The RAV4 built its reputation by avoiding that problem. It is known for lasting a long time when owners follow normal maintenance schedules. That does not mean it is perfect. Some older generations had common complaints involving transmissions, suspension wear, or excessive oil consumption depending on year and engine. Hybrid battery concerns also make some buyers nervous. Even though Toyota's hybrid systems have proven far more durable than many people expected. In reality, the hybrid system is usually one of Toyota's strongest advantages, not a weakness. Battery life tends to be strong, and many owners drive high mileage without major hybrid failures. Toyota has spent decades refining this technology, and that experience gives buyers confidence. Compared to some newer hybrid competitors, the RAV4 often feels like the safer long-term bet. Resale value is another major reason people choose it. Few vehicles in this segment hold value as well as a RAV4. Used buyers trust the name, and that keeps demand high. Someone buying a RAV4 today may pay more upfront, but often gets some of that money back later when selling or trading it. That is a very different ownership experience compared to vehicles that lose value aggressively. This is especially important for buyers who upgrade every few years. A strong resale market makes the RAV4 financially smarter than some cheaper competitors. Now let's talk about trims because not every RAV4 feels the same. The base trims are practical and simple. They give buyers the Toyota reliability and SUV usefulness without unnecessary luxury costs. For many families, this is enough. Good fuel economy, solid safety systems, and dependable daily use are already there. Mid-level trims usually offer the best balance. This is where buyers often find the sweet spot. Better wheels, upgraded interior materials, larger infotainment screens, heated seats, sunroof options, and stronger convenience features without pushing the price too high. For many people, these versions make the most sense. Then there are higher trims like Limited, Adventure, TRD Off-Road, and premium hybrid versions. These can become surprisingly expensive, but they also change the personality of the SUV. Better sound insulation, premium interiors, upgraded technology, stronger off-road capability, and more confident styling make them feel closer to near-luxury territory. The TRD off-road version is especially interesting because it gives buyers a tougher appearance and better trail confidence without forcing them into something massive like a Toyota 4Runner. Still, most people buying a RAV4 are not climbing mountains every weekend. They are commuting to work, picking up kids, visiting family, and doing Costco runs. And honestly, that is where the RAV4 is strongest. It is not trying to be a hardcore off-road machine. It is trying to be useful every single day. That may sound simple, but it is harder than it looks. Now compare it to the Honda CR-V because this is one of the most common buying decisions in America. The CR-V often feels smoother and slightly more refined on the road. Some drivers prefer Honda's interior design and ride comfort. It can feel softer and quieter in certain situations. The RAV4, on the other hand, often wins on perceived durability and hybrid reputation. Many buyers simply trust Toyota's long-term reliability more, especially for hybrid systems. Neither is a bad choice. This is more about personality. The CR-V feels a little more comfort-focused. The RAV4 feels a little more confidence-focused. Then there is the Mazda CX-5, which often feels more premium and fun to drive. If someone values handling and interior quality, Mazda can be very attractive. But for pure practicality, cargo space, and Toyota's resale confidence, the RAV4 often pulls ahead. That is why so many people test drive other SUVs and still end up buying the Toyota. Let's also talk about design because the RAV4 changed dramatically in recent generations. Older RAV4 models were softer and more rounded. Functional, but not especially exciting. Newer models became sharper, more aggressive, and more confident looking. The front grille, body lines, and overall stance now look stronger and more modern. That was a smart move. SUV buyers today want practicality, but they also want something that looks good in the driveway. Toyota understood that. The newer RAV4 looks more adventurous without becoming too extreme. It feels stylish enough for younger buyers but still mature enough for older families. That wide appeal is not accidental. Inside, Toyota made the same adjustment. Older cabins were simple and sometimes plain. Newer models feel more structured, cleaner, and better organized. They still prioritize usability, but they no longer feel boring. That balance matters. A family SUV should not feel like an appliance. Now let's discuss price in the United States because this changes the final decision for many buyers. Base gasoline models usually start in a range that feels competitive for the segment, but once buyers move into better trims, all-wheel drive, and hybrid versions, prices rise quickly. Fully equipped hybrid or plug-in versions can become significantly more expensive than expected. That creates an important question. Should someone spend that much on a RAV4? Or move towards something larger like a Toyota Highlander, or even consider entry-level luxury brands? The answer depends on priorities. If the goal is prestige, maybe not. If the goal is dependable ownership, low stress, strong resale, and practical daily use, the RAV4 remains one of the smartest buys available. And that brings us to the final verdict. Yes, the Toyota RAV4 absolutely deserves its popularity. It is not America's favorite SUV because it is the fastest, the cheapest, or the most luxurious. It wins because it consistently solves real-life problems better than most rivals. It gives families space without excess. It gives commuters efficiency without boredom. It gives buyers reliability without drama. It gives long-term owners confidence. That combination is incredibly powerful. Would I recommend it for everyone? No, someone looking for real sports car excitement will probably be disappointed. Someone needing 3 rows for a large family may need a Highlander instead. Someone wanting true luxury softness may prefer something from Lexus or Mazda. But for the average buyer who wants one vehicle that can handle daily life with minimal surprises, the RAV4 is extremely hard to argue against. It is especially strong for young families, professionals, commuters, retirees who want easy access and visibility, and buyers who plan to keep their vehicle for many years. It is also excellent for people who do not want to think about their car every day. That may sound small, but it is actually huge. The best car for many people is not the one that excites them the most. It is the one that quietly does its job for years without becoming a problem. That is the real secret behind the RAV4. It does not demand attention. It earns trust. And in the American SUV market, trust is often more valuable than horsepower. That is why the RAV4 keeps winning. And honestly, that is probably not changing anytime soon.